more problems. And yeah, more money, no problems. No that's problems. Real. So that's real. Yes, those are the type of things we want in our lives, man. These days. Yeah. But it's all about fintech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we're talking
so tell
about,
us more about. In fact, for those who are listening in and not sure what Payless is, could you just tell us a bit about who is Payless? Or what is Payless?
And of course, the disruptive technology that you're using to run Payless.
Yes. And why fintech?
All right. So, for starters, there's a massive opportunity, not only in Kenya, but also across Africa. This opportunity is really driven by young people. Some of the facts on the ground is that Africa is the youngest continent.
Yeah.
Average age of 21 years. The youngest country is in Africa, 14 years, which is Chad. Mm-hmm. Uganda is 20, Kenya is 21. So what it means is that out there, a huge number of the people you're going to bump into are going to be very young people.
Yeah.
Young people have, also grown up in technology. They grew up around tech. They grew up with tech. So their world is very different. All right. So we saw this opportunity and we said, these young people, the way they make their moves in the internet space, also they need an equally payments app that is fun, is smart enough and is mostly affordable. So Payless is a smart, affordable and convenient payment and financial services.
Yeah.
So super app, aggressive on young people. We speak to young people. We speak the language of young people. We know young people very well. Even from the group.
Yeah.
For all of those guys who've really downloaded Payless, you realize that even the language, the marketing is very young. We're also trying to break the barriers of the old, bullish, financial services and banking. So just breaking it down, like it's just payments, man.
Yeah.
It has to be as good as TikTok.
Yeah.
It has to be as fun as Spotify and the like. So that's what Payless is all about. Yeah. The future for us is bring all the young people into the formal financial ecosystem, giving them tools that can make them make smart money moves in the internet. At the same time, in all their daily lives and lifestyle.
I like that because this is not just a conversation about it's not like we're marketing Payless.
Yes.
But I like how you guys are very disruptive.
Yes.
At an age where everyone is just looking to do things be different, taking advantage of some of the disruptive technologies that we have, at our disposal. So let's talk about this fintech technology that you guys are using, of course, to make Payless very, very modern and very user friendly. How's that going? What's so different about this type of technology, and what's the feedback like?
So in general, without going into too much detail of the backends, the programming languages, I think we are very fascinated by super apps. All right, and super apps might be very new in this market, but they are a decade old in Southeast Asia. So if you look at what's happening in China and India and all those markets, everything is being done on one app, from your payment moves into your social life, all these things. So that's exactly what Payless is doing, right?
Okay.
What we've done is, because we didn't want to overwhelm the customer with too many features, we broke down the product into 3 phases. So we have Payless X, and Payless X is purely payments. So what is payments? Payments is what your mobile monies are doing, right? Yeah. But still, even mobile money, we have disrupted that space in a way that if you look at how you onboard or how you get your account created in a typical bank or mobile money app, is that you have to show up in some place. You have to really set aside half of your day to just show up to be KYC'd. Payless is 100% online. Fully 100% digital onboarding. So all you have to do is download the app, put in your MSSDN, which is your phone number, right? Get an OTP, get your details, which is the ID. We query the government databases. Then, you take a picture of your ID. You sit back, relax, few minutes, you're set up and ready to move, to make money moves. That's what now Payless X at the point of account creation. And then we currently have all mobile money ways to bring money into the ecosystem. Soon, we are going to enable our customers to be able to move money from bank directly to Payless.
Right.
And that's going to be extremely disruptive.
Okay.
All right. Now, when you get into the Payless app, that's where the fun begins. From the banners, from the UI. Our UI is actually amazing. I would say I haven't seen a payments app in Africa that has such playful UI. And because we know the audience we're speaking to, they want to break the barriers. They just want to have a good time. Right? So once you're in Payless, you can send money peer-to-peer on Payless, which is what we call on-net.
Yeah.
You can also send money to other mobile money, which is what we call off-net, and you can send money to banks, right? You can still pay your bills, your tills, offline, online, which is what is just Payless X. Now we have the Payless Y, which is now just expanding the ecosystem, bringing all the lifestyle things young people do, from events and ticketing, travel and tours, how they schedule their bills, how they split bills when they go to have fun, when they go out. That is coming out in Payless Y. But as I said, these payments and financial services. We are also looking at how do we move very fast to bring financial services on demand into the picture.
So how is it disrupting consumer behavior from traditionally what it was, especially when somebody was interacting with a payment platform like Payless and the ones that are already in the market? How is it now affecting the way these young guys are consuming? The way they go about, getting all these products and services, accessing them via your platform. What's changing now?
All right, so there are a couple of modules, but the big one for us has to be the QR code. And I'm very proud of our CBK because it's been really pushing the interoperable QR code. Because the future of QR code, what it means is that, whether you're coming with a mobile app from from a green mobile app, a red mobile app, another mobile wallet, as long as it has QR code capability, you can scan any QR and be able to terminate a payment.
Correct.
So that is a massive function for us. So how can you be able to utilize this feature in Payless? When you get into Payless, you have this send via scan QR. You also have just a big QR button on the app. So what it means is that if she's on Payless and I'm on Payless, I don't need to keep asking her for her number.
Right.
I don't need to make those mistakes.
That's what's up.
Just show me your QR code, I scan and go. Right, and in the Payless Y, once you have the Payless merchants having the same QR codes, you don't need to keep asking a till number or business number, because actually we did research and realized a lot of mistakes with the wrong transactions are done because the customer is trying to ask for a phone number, or the customer is trying to input a physical digit into this text format. Right, so QR code simplifies that. It reduces 6 steps that are involved with other ways of payments into just 3. Like, show me your QR, I scan, on the go, right? That's just one of the functionalities. But young people are also loving, features like, being the ability to just, pay your bills and remember them for you, right? At some point in the near future, they can be able to schedule their bills, all that. And all these are just some of the elements we said are the smarts we're bringing to the market. But now the fun part of all this is that when we thought the customer base is yearning for good technology, we realized that the big problem is just affordability. The market is bleeding in financial fees.
Correct, I agree, man. Yeah, Kenyans,
it's extremely bleeding.
Yeah, it's damn expensive out here.
Honestly, 80%, 80 to 85% guys on Payless are on Payless because it's cheaper to transact.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now, you're the head of innovation.
Yes.
Now, tell us a bit about being a head of innovation. What is what does that entail?
So that my every day is, first of all, just scanning the market. I've had also the opportunity to travel a lot in different markets. Spend a lot of time in India, those Southeast Asian markets, European markets, South African markets, to just see what other markets doing. Because the thing with innovation, and I saw this conversation the other day on Twitter, is that on X, is that innovation is very different from invention. Invention is you're like bringing something extremely new. Innovation is there's something already there, and you're just improving on it, either by bringing a new business model or just bringing in new use cases, right? So every day for me is to look at what is happening in other markets. Where do we need to go, in terms of the future? We already have a carved up roadmap of what time we need to push specific modules in Payless. But you see, constant innovation means you also awake to the changing dynamics in the market, right? For example, the ideas we thought we wanted to push in January this year, the market changed, right? Even regulation changed, and you realize, and you realize, for example, today the regulator is really working very hard to bring interoperability, and there's actually a product that they're going to work in to just bring interoperability between banks and mobile apps. So you see, that is a game changer. Now, if you had a module on how to move money, and then this comes up, this becomes an advantage. It's plug and play. So it's scanning the market, it's scanning regulation, and constantly sitting down with the customer experience team to listen to what customers want. Right? And I said we have Payless X, we have Payless Y, we have Payless Z.
Yeah.
The reason for Payless X is because we didn't want to launch an entire super app. We wanted to give an MVP, minimum viable product in the market, so that then we build with the customer. The more the customer uses the app, the more we see what's happening, and then we keep improving on the product.
I like that.
Okay, so outside of Payless, are there any other innovations that you've noticed are coming up in Kenya that you're like, okay, this is game changer?
Yes. Especially in the area of financial services. Right. The type of customer we speak to is very different from the conventional customer. So you're looking at customers. By the way, Payless primary target market is 20-25, but obviously we have a lot of outliers of 25 to 30-year-olds. Guys who just love the tech. But if we speak about the comparison between the different target markets, you realize that the old way of saving was I was saving because I'm afraid of the future. But the young people want to save for specific things. Even saving for sherehe over the weekend, right? I want to save for a ring light to create content. I want to save for holiday. So these are the things that these guys want. And in the ecosystem, there are innovators that are building now what is called goal-based savings platform. It's amazing. They're making it affordable. They're breaking down barriers of investment, cutting down brokers, cutting down the paperwork. There's also massive innovations. Tap to pay. Tap to pay is connect Visa, MasterCard, enable cards, and then you just tap at a merchant. There is also massive innovations in terms of identity, because identity is the only way we can be able to move the financial ecosystem forward. How can we verify a customer in very few steps as per regulation?
These innovations you're talking about are Kenyan.
Kenyan,
Good stuff, good stuff. Nice, man. What about the cryptocurrency and let's say blockchain technologies? What space do they have when it comes to, financial technologies like Payless?
I think it's still, again, in the area of investment. It is just like the older customers had an investment affinity for things that are mostly infrastructure, house, land, those type of things. The new and future customers are really looking to making their money moves in the internet ecosystem. Even just plugging into the main topic of the day. It's called the internet economy. So all the things that are happening in the internet economy, the cryptocurrencies, the bitcoins, all these things. So it's just trying to understand the trends around investment. But I think from a payments point of view, I feel like it's very segment driven. A lot of regulators still trying to figure out how best to regulate it. So currently we're not very active in that space, but eventually when it's properly regulated, I think it'd be an amazing opportunity for even our customers.
I bet.
So there's a possibility where people will be able to use their bitcoins to pay for bread and milk in the stores.
I think future.
Of a holiday future. I bet in the near future.
Because like you're mining them, but you're not using them. I mean, it becomes useless.
I agree. But it's interesting. I saw some spot on Thika Road. Actually, when you Thika Road, that is just close. When you're approaching, Nyeri, you get like a Nyamachoma joint where they say you can pay using cryptocurrency. I don't know whether you've seen that.
I
man.
need to go that side now.
JP.
Yeah, so I got two questions. I'm just trying to understand. I mean, there's so many companies that are doing this money lending apps, saving apps and all. And I'm sure you guys must have identified a pain point, in the market for you guys to begin innovating on Payless. What are some of the pain points that you guys identified? Like, there's a loophole here, so we need to do this. And then secondly, there's a lot of cybercrime and, cyber threats all over. What are some of the security measures that Payless has to ensure that we don't get hacked or, things don't happen like in many other banks and institutions?
All right, I'll start with your second question. I think October is Global Cybersecurity Month. So this is an area where we've also been giving it a bit more light internally within the teams, as well as just sensitizing our customers over what we call just the rudimentary ways of cybercrime. Like a guy calls you fraud, something like that. But in terms of the system, we did massive pen test, stuff on Payless even before launch. So the app itself and every module we bring into the ecosystem, we have to make sure that it goes through, the cybersec checks, which is pen test, VPT, dynamic app application testing, whatnot. We do it internally
Okay.
At the same time, we also work with accredited, cybersec agencies from outside to just again interact with our technology.
Right.
Also give us recommendations on how to improve it. And there's no such things as a system that 100% waterproof.
Yeah.
So what we also do is that we've started very early with AI to just look at how do we take advantage of AI to see some of those predictive behaviors around how the people, the bad guys are trying to manipulate the system. I just,
Steph, you're among the bad guys.
and be
I don't speak about my other activities.
and be ahead of the game. So usually, and this is one of the things that I think Payless has been very good at.
Right.
Yeah.
One of our core advantages has been our technology stack. All right, because you see any new app in a market, everyone would be trying to attack it, right? And we go those a lot in the first month of our launch. We launched in May.
Interesting.
As of today, we have already 350,000 customers.
Wow, that's
we are the
impressive.
fastest growing fintech, and that's a fact.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So obviously, we had a lot of people
Trying to infiltrate your system.
The system, but I would say we have done a very good job.
Awesome.
To the second question, there's so many pain points, right? But for us, first of all, coming from an organization that is speaking to young people, we saw a gap, in terms of how young people want to access payments and financial services, right? So young people want, payments app that is 100%, for example, digital onboarding. Like, okay, why would they say it? Banking is boring. Like why would I go to a hall to wait for 2 hours to just be onboarded on an app? So we answered that question by 100% digital onboarding. They wanted a fun and cool app. If you interact with Payless, honestly, it's fun and cool. Our marketing is also just speaking to them. We're like, express yourself.
Right.
It's creativity, right? We wanted to, get into, because we're also very creator economy driven, as well as guys who are trying to do their money moves or their business hustles in the digital ecosystem. So the future for Payless is how do we become an operating system of all the money moves that guys are making in the internet space. But all the good techs, from how you pay, payment gateways, virtual cards, was nothing when we realized the customer just wants something that's extremely affordable.
Yeah.
Right? So we ended up now speaking aggressively to affordability. And as of today, we are over 80% affordable in terms of transaction. And we've saved customers actually so much money. Last week was the customer service week, and we were celebrating our impact stories. It is important to note that barely 4 months since after launch, we've served customers over 27 million in terms of transaction fees
impressive.
that they will have spent.
That's crazy.
On other.
I think Kenyans are just extremely innovative. Because have you heard of Tusenti?
Yes.
Oh, you have. So
I've heard about them.
You know what they're doing with their system as well.
But I haven't interacted, but I've heard about them.
Well, basically, these guys, you use M-Pesa transactions, but now you do not. You see the way Payless is making you just spend like less. Now for them, they have a system where you get to save through your transaction, and it piles up, and then you can buy an asset with it.
That's mad.
Yeah, you can buy a kettle. You can
That's
buy
a massive story. Let me tell you a personalized story. Okay. There's a Payless customer. There's a guy called Johnny. Johnny is a guy of plugs. Okay. Makix, Brooks, Nike, Origi, but Mtush is that guy. So of course he has a lot of deliveries, interaction with customers. So he was one of the early adopters on Payless, right? So this guy uses Payless to pay suppliers, pay delivery guys, pay his resellers, all these guys.
Yeah.
When we highlighted this story during customer service week, and we realized we had saved a journey around 40,750. That is 25 kicks. And this guy just does his stuff on Instagram. So these powerful stories of the equivalent of how we save you is so
lot.
much. It is the seed capital that a lot of young people could use and be able to kickstart and get ahead in life. And this is just for a very small customer base. If you look at 350,000 customers and you compare with for example, what the leading market players have, you can see this is just a drop in the ocean. If you amplify the amount of savings in terms of transaction fees to even 1 million customers, you can start to see the impact of that. And those are the stories we want to take and run away with, while constantly innovating the cool stuff around these particular customers.
So we like what you guys are doing, but now I want to find out, who are you? Who is Derrick? Like, how did you get into this whole industry of technology? Were you always like the kid who took a phone to put it back together and then see how it works?
I'm very passionate about innovation. The thing is, immediately after college, I never studied innovation or technology.
For real?
I never studied. I studied comms, actually, in college. I was in Moi University. But then my first interaction with the corporate was actually, I spent a bit of time in Safaricom. And then I was exposed to what products could do. Right? I was like, okay, all right, so this product called M-Pesa, this product called Fliza, this. I wanted to understand the other side of it. So what it meant is that I was also very aggressive with the rotation at work. Move from one place to the other, just see how things work. So when I was exposed to the other side of innovation, I was like, the intersection between technology and solving real problems is a place I want to play at. So I left the organization and dived into tech entrepreneurship. I think that's where we interact with a lot of guys like Ian Golf back in the day. So I did a bit of e-commerce. I had a lot of success case studies in ag, but then I was always like, okay, I studied SDGs very well and understood them, and I realized this is a blueprint of how Africa could leapfrog and catch up with the rest, because it's been left behind. Let's be honest. A lot of the technology even we consume here is very Western or from Southeast Asia. But then from my experience, it was Safaricom. I saw that the mobile was the one thing where we could put a product and it could revolutionize the life of our people, right? Because if you look at then we had the feature phones, but today we have the smartphone penetration that is double percentage growing every year, right? In fact, they project by the year 2035, there will be around 800 to 1 billion smartphones across Africa. This is a tool in someone's hand that you could build a product and it will be distributed. Distribution becomes instant, right? If you compare tech distribution versus old distribution, let's say how you distribute cooking oil, tech, you only just need access to internet. And once you plug and play, to this internet infrastructure, the people have your product. You do not need to put trucks on the road, right? So I was like, this phone is the way we are going to be able to solve the problems for Pan-Africa and get out our people, move them to the next level.
It's interesting. Yesterday when we had our show, Steph asked us just a random question. And as an innovator, I feel like I need to ask you the same question. Just to, I want to dig it. I want to just see how you reason out these things. The question was, is it better to fail in originality than succeed in imitation?
Oh.
Is it better to fail in originality? Okay, I think, like I said, we are no longer inventing stuff. Invention was the Wright brothers. The
Right
Bell. The guys who inventing the engines. The phone. All these guys. Today we're just innovating. So it is how, because like you look at payment technology stacks all over the place. Today, if you go to App Store or Play Store, there are over 1 million apps. But probably the number of apps you have in your phone is probably 10. So out of 1 million, only 10 guys have actually made it
to your
eyes. Right? What is it that they're doing? Is that they've just imitate, all right, improve the thing, make it better, let it solve a problem, which is what we call use case. Get a powerful use case. And sometimes innovation is not really about tech. It's also about business model.
Correct.
And you see, business model is also what Payless is doing. Business model innovation is to say, why are you charging X for transaction fees? We can actually still charge X minus 50, and because we are agile and nimble, we don't have to make stakeholders happy. We just need to empower the customer, right? You combine business model innovation, you put in a bit of tech, you put in a bit of salt aromat, and the thing is exciting enough.
Some
get
spice.
Massive use cases, grow with the customer, and and you succeed. And the thing is, all the guys we admire, all right, they have come from these are, you look at Uber, Facebook, all this. The problem is mostly innovators want to look at this product and think they were built overnight. These are 20-year-old companies, right? In fact, Google was a search engine on Yahoo 20 years ago. But they just learned, they actually just imitated and, just took advantage of algorithm to, instead of, clustering databases, just used, the powerful algorithm to just search and find for the customer. And today, they have replaced that conglomerate. Yeah. So that's the whole point of learn from what is already in the market, which is just imitation, improve, make it better. But again, agile and speed. Fail fast, fail cheap.
Superb answer. Let me ask you, what are some of the main challenges that e-commerce businesses usually go through when they're integrating fintech solutions, especially guys who are starting out?
All right. And a lot of the fintechs, a lot of the small, e-commerce, and e-commerce is going, let me tell you, e-commerce is going to be very powerful.
I can imagine.
And when we think about e-commerce, a lot of guys think of building their own website. But, just putting your products on WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook, that's already e-commerce. Yeah. It's social commerce, but it's still e-commerce, right? It's electronic commerce, right? But a lot of the guys who try to, build platforms or they have their own issue is always API.
Okay.
API integration, right? So, for example, most of the payment platforms, the leading payment platforms, they have just their standard APIs. So you have to accustom your own tech stack and try to integrate. So actually, that is one of the biggest challenges why e-commerce has had its own challenges, because somehow you need to build a 250k app just to integrate your payments app. 250k is so massive for a lot of the small businesses. But we are rethinking this in two ways. First of all, we are creating adaptive API suites for different use cases. So, for example, the future of Payless and in terms of e-commerce is that whatever we put out there for people in the events and ticketing space is going to be very different from the guys who are selling stuff online, right? Whatever we put out there for guys who are selling stuff online also going to be very different for the guys who are trying to do on-demand financial services, right? But the point is, how do you break down technology and set up a team that can actually help these guys integrate? Yeah. Apart from that, our vision is the ability to be able to create a no-code marketplace for small businesses where you just get to the platform, you customize it. You're not building any code. Just change colors and start uploading products and start selling. Because then what it means is, because the platform is custom built, the payment is already integrated in it.
Correct.
But then also adapting it to other payment and other global payment channels that support cross connectivity, especially in terms of different markets. And this is very important because if you look at Africa, like I said, I've spent so much time in India. It's 1.4 billion people and like around 200 million people in the diaspora. It's a big market. Africa is only 1.2 billion. Right, so and if you have one single payment player in the Indian market with 550 million customers, it's very possible to be able to build Payless with an African play, so that all these guys from day one can be able to transact cross border.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was an interesting article that was released recently where it stated that the government would now be going into people's M-Pesas to repay back the loans that they had taken. Now, these people, I take it, are looking into moving to Payless because they think, okay, I'm not going to be found by that. How are you going to, handle that?
So,
like, for example, Kev goes into his Fuliza, does the maximum amount, and then gets out. Now he moves to Payless after he gets a new phone. And now he's like, okay, they can't catch me. Like, how are you going to, help? Are you going to work with Safaricom to build that, or the government? Or are you just going to be like, okay, these are our customers. You can't touch their Payless accounts. You can't take their money.
So that's why I think, and I say, like, I'm very proud of our regulator. I think we've interacted with them. They're very visionary guys. They are always looking at how can the ecosystem adapt very fast to to technologies that ensure that the financial ecosystem is just one and the same thing. Because if you look at, for example, European markets with the GDPR, the data belongs to the customer. Right, so it's not siloed with one business. Right, so because of that, there's a lot of sharing. And the one thing that I think would be able to bring that ultimate interoperability is the ability to have a single financial profile of a customer, right? Whether they're on Payless, whether they're on Bank A, Bank
Across
B,
the board.
right? There's a single financial profile on this customer, because you see, trying to cheat a system is also a behavior, a customer behavior. They will do the same thing to Payless at some point. It's just a customer behavior. And if you look, that's why I say we are very passionate and very excited about AI, because with AI we can start to see those customer behaviors that are very predictive.
Right.
And predictive behavior means if this customer is doing this to platform A,
it's probably
we are just going to do the same thing to plan B, even in a massive way. So nobody wins. In that type of, so the whole point is how do we actively work very hard to, to support that, financial profile information sharing, so that we build. It's not only about, having the ability to run away from platform A, but creating an ecosystem. Right, we are very ecosystem driven, an ecosystem that is safe, seamless, and sound for a Kenyan customer, right, so that we compete on innovation, we compete on new products, we compete on value propositions, and less about a customer ran from lending platform A and went to lending platform B.
I like how you say you incorporate AI into the business. Though that's actually another question I wanted to ask. Do you think Kenyans should now start embracing AI into their businesses to be able to grow? Do you think that's a way that, most businesses will be able to boom in this new technology wave that's coming in?
It's inevitable. I think AI today is like the World Wide Web back in the day. When business were being told this, even not the World Wide Web, like the internet. So there are these stories about the technology transformation, and how back in the day, guys were being told the internet is coming, you can't run away from it, and guys are like, okay, this internet thing is, it's a passing cloud. It wasn't a passing cloud. Like right now, you can see every tech is so integrated. It's like runs through a bloodstream, right? It's the same thing AI is going to be, and AI away from the jargon. And unfortunately, tech people talk about these things as jargon. AI is just use cases. For example, today there is so many use cases for AI in our daily lives that you can imagine, like maps, your assistant for Google Meets, the chatbots that you're interacting with, the chat GPT that we keep asking questions. Those are just some of the applications for conversational AI. Right. We also have the what we call the Gen AI, and that's going to have a massive applications, especially in financial services, for example, like the ecosystem that are generating massive data, transport, financial services, content creation, right? For example, if you go into an e-commerce platform or just social media, if you go to social media, you realize that what shows up on Kev's timeline is not what shows up. That's AI, right? So it's not like AI is something that's coming 10 years. Already has been with us for a while. It is just a point of how can CIOs, CTOs, innovators, tech entrepreneurs start to get practical use cases of AI and not start to talk, not start to pitch AI as a business or as a solution. Like, what are the things that we can solve? And we say, okay, AI will help us here. For example, for us, we know AI will help us understand our customers better. Better value propositions to these customers. It will help us, identify and fight fraud, on the platform. And in future, when we start with on-demand financial services, insurance, savings, lending, AI will really help us know customer profiles and customize products for them. So it is something that is like, there's no time.
You guys are actually going towards the direction for insurance and money lending, eh? That's impressive.
Financial services.
It's a whole package. Derrick, we're about to wrap up, but Stephanie, you've got a question.
Yes, so let me take you down memory lane.
All right.
What was that one song for you that you would play during your teen years that would always get you going? That one song that, those million likes and million views just belong to you alone.
Take your time, my brother. Take your time. Take your time.
I think I'd said back in the day when I was growing up, I listened to a bit of Tupac.
Stuff.
And I liked, just like life goes on.
Life goes on.
Just
that was a heavy track.
That was a
stuff
dope
happening,
one.
but life goes on. Just embrace it. It is what it is.
Easy, man. So, sir, thanks for coming through, Derrick
I really
Gakuu.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can hook you up with Life Goes On. But, if I don't find it, any other one?
California love.
Okay, Sasa. Steph got your back.
Yeah.
Derrick, you're a smart guy, man. I like your energy. You're so chill. You're so youthful. You're getting out there, adding so much value to our country, Kenya. And I'm wishing you success. I believe this is just your start, Maze. The future is looking good for you, Maze. So if you're just joining us, Derrick Gakuu, he's the head of innovation, Payless, and we've been having such a dope conversation. It's all about unlocking trillion-dollar opportunities in payments, e-commerce, and of course the creator economy. When we come back this hour, because it's the final hour of this amazing show of ours, yani kuna vitu zingine you get that happen in America that just amaze me. We'll be talking to you about the 10 rudest cities in America.
Interesting.
Literally, where you can just...
I think I know number one.
What do you think number one is? Where you just look at somebody and they're like, what the F are you looking at?
Yeah.
You know how Kenyans like overstaring? Paka sometimes they're like, hey boss, maze.
Niangalia sana. You're like, yo.
Kwanza wengeza ina gari. People be staring.
Yeah,
So
there's
that's bad.
cities that you get stabbed at for looking at
You know
someone
what I mean?
the wrong way. You'd be like, sorry.
So we'll get into that plus a whole lot of other stories, maze. 20 kazi, guys. Good evening.
So here we go. This is unbelievable.
Good nostalgic golden sound.
All right, are you ready?